time that my mom passed away, I was 6 months into a new role as a director of inside sales for a tech company. And on day 15, I knew it wasn't a fit. So
Mm,
it
mhm.
gave me clearance to go ahead and just say, you know what, I'm going to tap out now
Yeah.
and focus on the thing that I want to do right now, which is finish this book. So I ended up quitting about 2 weeks after my mom passed away.
Um,
And I took the 11 months that I was out of work, I guess I could say, in a professional sense, and just focused on doing this project,
mhm.
making, the Redbird be what it is today.
Yeah.
So it was just so serendipitous how everything happened. Like, I sit back now and I think, even though I took this loss, losing my mom, my aunt, and then a couple of years prior to that, my granddad, even though I've had a series of losses,
Mhm.
I think everything happened as it was supposed to.
Welcome to the Life with Grief podcast. I'm your host, grief and soul purpose coach, and fellow griever, Tara Accardo. Diandra, welcome to the Life with Grief podcast. This conversation is long overdue. We were just joking a little bit before we came on, but I've been so excited to talk to you. And when we first kind of started corresponding, and I just heard your story and the beautiful things that you have built, which I'll let you tell, I just knew I wanted to talk to you. I was very moved. There was a lot of aspects of your story that I kind of saw in mine and could really relate to. So you are just going to offer listeners so much. I just know
I
it.
hope
So
so.
of course you will. Yeah. So just a big warm welcome to you.
Thank you so much, Tara. I appreciate it.
You're welcome. Yeah. So I love to start these conversations by just having you tell us a little bit about yourself. So, as I always like to say, these could be more like fun facts, what you like to do for fun, things people might not know about you. And then we will get into your journey of grief and loss.
Okay. Well, I guess I can start by saying my name is Diandra, and I have been in corporate America in tech sales for about 24 years. Oh my
Wow.
God, that just aged me, but that's okay. Um, it wasn't until my mom passed away that I really started to tap into my desire to write.
Mhm.
And when she passed away, I just started putting pen to paper, and it ended up being, I thought it was going to be just a journal entry, but I kept going back to it, kept adding things to it, making it a bit more verbose. And in the end, that's how Redbird came to be, my debut memoir.
Beautiful. So I that's one of the things I related to you on was just this love of writing and how it sort of just came very naturally, like losses become gains and how I started
Yeah,
with all of this was through a blog. And yeah, it's something I just felt very called to do, like kind of can't
same.
explain it. That's how you've sort of felt too?
That's exactly how I felt. And I'd always been, really artsy. I was into
Mhm.
painting for a while.
Oh.
I love to sing. I love to write poetry. And so this was a natural progression for me.
Mhm. Yeah, it definitely feels that way. I think I've talked about this on the podcast a little bit before too, and I
Yeah.
have also had some guests that really tapped into art as a modality for healing and things. I'm just curious before we really get into, a little more detail on your journey of loss. Um, w were you kind of into painting and the arts and everything, like, before your mom died, or was that it
Oh,
just
yeah.
came more to light after? Okay, gotcha.
Yeah, in my 20s, I had my first group show. Um, yeah, so I
Wow.
really mainly paint large abstract work.
Mm.
So my first group show, I had like 5 pieces that I displayed, and they all sold. So
Wow.
that was, to me, that was just such a way for me to know that this is what I'm called to do. But my other half of my life is spent in corporate America, where I'm having to kind of put that on the back burner and focus, usually cerebrally. So
Right.
it's a departure from that. And I love the juxtaposition of being artsy but also techie.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, just have to say, on a personal note, you remind me of my dad a little bit, and I mean this
Okay.
in the way that he was an attorney, so very, just that analytical, whatever side of his
Yeah.
brain, but then also he was a beautiful artist. He was a sketch artist, he was also a
Oh,
painter. He was so talented that totally skipped me and my generation. I hope it hits my daughter. I would love for her to be more artsy. I can't sing, I can't do any of the things. I can try, right? I have fun with it. But he was truly so skilled, and I it's one of the things I love most about him is just juxtaposition, right? And
yeah,
balancing both and tapping into both, and he was so good at both. I've never seen we laugh about it because 'cause I've never seen someone on such different ends of the spectrum
I
be
know.
so painfully good and love each one. Like, he said to me
Mhm.
multiple times, like, "Tara, I hope you find something that you do in your work that you don't have to work a day in your life." It feels like that
Yeah.
cliche, like, find something that you love and you won't work a day in your life. That's how he felt about law, depending, of course, he
Yeah,
had
of
his rough
course.
days, rough trials, whatever, but, like, just loved it. But then he had the art, right? That he really
Yeah,
didn't necessarily do for anyone but himself, but, like, oh my gosh, amazing. So I love that about you. I think that's so amazing, and it
yeah,
really is such, many people are like that, but a lot aren't. It's such
yeah.
a gift. It's a skill and a gift too.
We
So,
usually just pick one or the other and focus on
yes.
that, but having 2 sides of the same coin is just
Oh,
chef's kiss. I
yeah.
love it.
It's
Yeah.
beautiful, and you're such a beautiful example of, like, exploring both of those
Yeah,
and leaning into both. If you are skilled and you enjoy both, and I mean, it's been such a learning experience and sort of journey for me too, in my own sort of grief. I'm certainly not on quite so different ends of the spectrum, but I'm realizing what a multifaceted person I actually am that I maybe didn't
yeah, and
realize.
then you're doing your art. Your podcasting is your art.
Yeah,
The
oh,
way that
sure,
you
yes.
host is your
Yeah,
art. So you
yeah,
are doing that. You are tapping into the
absolutely.
thing that makes you artistic and taps into the thing that makes you passionate.
Yeah.
So good
Great
for
point.
you.
Yeah, thank you for calling that out. I don't think of it that way sometimes, but no, it is, and yeah, so I just wanted to sidebar on that a little bit because I think it's just such a great example and just a reminder for people here listening that, whether it's before your grief or after your losses, I guess we could say
Yeah,
that, just to tap into that exploration a little bit and just those sides of
exactly.
ourselves that we maybe never have before, or,
Yeah.
maybe loss brings those things to light more than they were
In
before,
my
right? So,
case in my case, I think it really did. It really made me it
yeah.
forced me to really take a look at my life as a
Mhm.
whole.
Mhm.
And at the time that my mom passed away, I was 6 months into a new role as a director of inside sales for a tech company, and on day 15, I knew it wasn't a fit. So
Mm.
it
Mhm.
gave me clearance to go ahead and just say, "You know what? I'm gonna tap out now
Yeah.
and focus on the thing that I wanna do right now, which is finish this book."
Yeah.
So I ended up quitting about 2 weeks after my mom passed away,
Um,
and it wasn't a tough conversation to have with my boss at the time. It was more very matter of fact.
mhm.
It was just
Mhm.
like, "Okay, so today's my last day. Just wanted you to know." And
Wow.
that's how I broached the conversation.
Yeah.
And she was just like, "Are you sure? Do you wanna think about it?" And I'm like, "Oh, I have.
Yeah, no,
This
trust me,
this
like,
is
this was not
me."
a rash decision. Yeah.
Yeah, this is me putting it into motion.
Wow.
So, yeah, and I took the 11 months that I was out of work, I guess I could say,
Yeah.
in a professional sense, and just focused on doing this project,
Mhm.
making, the Redbird be what it is today.
Yeah.
So it was just so serendipitous how everything happened. Like, I sit back now and I think even though I took this loss, losing my mom, my aunt,
Mm.
and then a couple of years prior to them, my granddad, even though I've had a series of losses,
Mhm.
I think everything happened as it was supposed to
Yeah.
in
Ooh.
relation to where my life has ended up or is shaking out to end up.
Okay, that is so powerful. I wanna pause there. I want to back up a little bit, and I
Yeah.
love that we went in this direction. This first of all, I'm so happy all of that was just said because I think it's such a great perspective for people to hear about just how I don't know, things can unfold after loss, right? And just
I
following our
know.
gut and our heart. But I would be remiss if we did not talk about those that you have lost. And I know a lot of this came from your mother, but you just mentioned your aunt and a grandparent as well. So can you just walk us through that a little
Yeah.
bit and share a little bit of especially your mom, her name. Feel free to share a little bit about
Yeah,
her. I'd
of
love to
course,
give
of
give our loved
course.
ones some love and just what
I
that whole
know.
grief and loss
I
looked like for
speak
you.
to her often. I say her name
Mm,
every day. I
yeah.
say mom at least 5 times a day. I don't know in relation to what, but I just do because
Yeah.
I'm always thinking about her,
Yeah. Yeah.
and she's the reason why I do everything that it is that I do.
Mm.
So 14 months before she passed away, her baby sister, my youngest aunt, her name was Audrey. We affectionately called her Sean.
That's my daughter's name.
And oh,
Yeah.
beautiful name. I
It's a
love
beautiful
that.
name. Yeah.
Yeah,
A little
it's a
biased,
gorgeous
but yeah,
name.
beautiful name.
I know, but the thing is that we didn't call her Audrey, only her
Yeah.
friends did. But
Okay, interesting. Yeah, so
her
what were you
middle
I'm
name
sorry I interrupted you.
her middle name was LaShawn, so
Okay.
we all called her Shawn,
Okay, beautiful.
and that's what she went by. She was known to us by just that name,
Okay.
and so when we lost her, she had decided to pick up and move after the passing of my granddad. She was his
Mhm.
primary caregiver.
Oh.
He had Parkinson's, and he was like 87, 88, something like that. I don't remember, but he was up in age.
Mhm.
And we had all driven across Texas into Georgia to get to this funeral because it happened so quickly. And I remember like we caravanned. It was two big, vans, and
Oh, I have
just our
chills.
family. Like it was my brother, my sisters, my niece, my mom,
Yeah.
my sister's husband, my husband, and we just all went there and celebrated his life. And it was like it was surreal because it just really let me know I hadn't experienced a loss like that, like so close to home.
Yeah.
Yeah, we've had cousins pass, we've had great aunts, great uncles, all that stuff. But
Mhm.
he was my mom's dad. He was my aunt Sean's dad.
Yeah.
And we had to be there for them. There was no question. So she, at that point, decided that she was going to repatriate to Africa. She said that the ancestors were calling her to go to the Gambia.
Oh, wow.
So she sold all of her things, her car, all of her worldly possessions, and she booked a one-way ticket to the Gambia and never to be seen alive again. So,
I have
yeah.
chills again. Oh my gosh, this story. I can't
She had been there for 8 months. The 8th month that she was there, she passed away. She was set to marry this man, and I know. I thought that she may have known him in
Oh,
some capacity before having moved to the Gambia. That's what I think, but it hasn't been confirmed. But she made the decision to leave because she wanted nothing to do with the United States. She was just like, I'm out, peace
mhm.
out, done, whatever.
Yeah.
And she had done a lot of things when she was there. She had bought a taxi service. She had purchased land. She was opening up a store for women to go to for essential oils and hair care products and facial products and things of that nature.
Oh,
Her and I had
incredible.
gotten together to so I could do the logo for her business. It was going to be called Kintis Cottage, and it was just going to sell all these things, right? So fast forward to her 8th month in the Gambia, and she was set to marry 2 weeks before her death. She was set to be married, and we get a phone call at 5 o'clock in the morning from the guy that she was set to marry, and he was like, "She's gone." And my mom was so confused. She was like, what are you talking about? Where? To the store? Like,
Yeah.
what are you saying? I don't understand. What happened?" And he went on to say that they had gone out the night before and had had dinner, met up with some friends at a local bar or whatever, and they had gotten home pretty early, like around 10 or something like that, had gone to bed, and around 2 a.m. he'd woken up and just to go to the bathroom. And he said that she looked funny. And he said he splashed some water on her face to rouse her, and she never woke up. She never woke up.
What?
Yeah, she was 53.
I have
Yeah.
questions.
I have
I'm
questions, so
sure you
please
do as
give
well.
me your questions.
So I don't wanna pry too much, of course, but
Oh, please,
you
please.
guys you just don't know you don't know what happened?
We
Like,
don't
there's
know.
no kind of cause
I
of death?
Cause of death, I
Oh my
actually
god.
ordered an autopsy,
Yeah.
and so they said that it was basically something run of the mill like hypertension. Yeah, just something where they couldn't assign a true cause of death, so they just
Okay.
said, "Oh, she just died, hypertension's probably the cause." You know what I mean?
What?
It was very, very just I don't know, it didn't really provide me with
No.
I don't know what the word is. It didn't provide me with a sense of peace, I
Right.
should say, because I
Yeah.
just felt like, "Are you guys making that up?"
This is
And
suspect, like
it's us, right? But I talked to the
mhm.
medical examiner many, many times over WhatsApp, and I identified her body over a WhatsApp video
Oh
call.
god.
Yeah,
Oh, I'm
it
so
was
sorry.
crazy. He just panned up her body with his camera, and when he got to her face, I was like, "Yeah,
Oh,
that's my aunt."
you're just like, just don't even yeah.
Yeah, my mom couldn't do it. She
Of
just couldn't do it.
course.
She couldn't do it. She
Yeah,
did not wanna see her sister in a body bag,
don't blame
and
her.
that image will forever be burned into my brain.
Of course. Yeah.
Yeah, so we decided to have her buried there because it was gonna be, like, upwards of $50,000 to get her body repatriated back to the United
Oh,
States.
my lord.
Yeah. It was expensive, and then I thought about
Wow.
it, and, like, all the sisters, like, my mom and the other remaining sisters were just like, she didn't wanna come back to the
She
United
wanted
States.
to be there, yeah, so,
She
like,
wanted to be there.
it felt right anyway,
It
despite
felt Yeah, despite
circumstances,
what
yeah.
happened, it felt like we needed to do that for her, and so I picked out a spot underneath a tree, and she loved, big trees and the beach, so she was really close to the beach at this, Christian cemetery,
Mm,
and yeah, the guy from the US Embassy, his name was Connor, I will never forget him, he was just so
mhm.
sweet. He went to the memorial, just to make sure that she was resting in peace, and he took a couple of photos of the tree that she was buried underneath, and he just said, "I wanted to pay my respects. I did not know her, but I
Oh,
wanted someone to be there from your family to represent." And I
wow.
was like, "Well, thank you." He did not have to do that.
No, what an angel. Oh my
Yeah,
god.
he was an angel. He really was an angel.
What a story.
Yeah,
Oh my god. Well,
I know.
I'm so sorry. I mean, where do you pick up the pieces from there? So what did it look like moving forward, and then, what kind of that journey looked like, and then with your mom as well?
Yeah, so I volunteered myself to be the one to communicate with the embassy just because I was the one who got lucky enough to be able to reach them.
Mm,
So I opened up a trust for her in order to pay for everything that we needed to get done, the autopsy, the burial plot, the casket, all of that. So I opened up this trust, and then sent money to the US embassy in the Gambia so I could pay for all these things. And we had family Zoom calls about how we were going to proceed, in the wake of her death. And it just took us all by surprise because she was so excited to be there and so happy. And a day before my mom died, because she never got over her sister's death. Never, 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 never. But, a day before she passed away, my mom ended up sending, in the group chat to my sisters and I, a YouTube video about Black women dying in the Gambia, specifically the Gambia. There was a woman, this YouTube video, I can't remember her name, but she had a YouTube channel as well, and she knew my aunt, and she even referenced her in her YouTube videos,
what?
and she said, "This woman is dead. We don't know why, blah, blah, blah." And the woman who had the YouTube channel died also.
What?
Mhm.
Do we also sus
No,
circumstances? Like, do
I
we
I don't know what
not sure.
happened to
Okay.
her, but I
Okay.
contacted Connor a
Mhm.
year later after my aunt's death, and I said, "Do you know that this is going on in the Gambia?" There's whole YouTube channels devoted to
This is
Black
insane.
American women dying over in the Gambia or just Africa in general.
Right.
And he was like, "Yeah, I have gotten word about the deaths surrounding some, Black American women in the Gambia, and our infrastructure in this town is so small and such that we can't apply any resources to help understand what's going on. We're a poor country,
Yeah.
and there's only so much that we can do. Do you want to open up an investigation? So it asked my mom and a couple of my other aunts, and they were just like, do you think it's going to go down a rabbit hole? Because we had already hired an attorney to help
Mhm.
us. She had gotten nowhere fast. And so, yeah, that it was a kind of a hard pill to swallow. And the fact that my mom had sent that the day before she died was
Yeah.
just weird to me.
Oh, this whole thing.
And my mom had never been sick a day in her life as well. So she had been complaining about a sinus infection, or that she felt weird, you know? So she
Mhm.
had gone to the doctor the day before she died. They gave her some hydration fluids in the
Okay.
office because she was dehydrated.
Okay.
And they sent her home with the prescription for something just to help with the sinus infection. She went to go pick it up, said that she texted us. She said that she was going to go home after picking up her stuff from the pharmacy and go to sleep because she had not slept well the night before.
Mhm.
And we're like, okay, mom, you go ahead and do that. We'll contact you in the morning, reach out to us, or somebody will call you or whatever.
Yeah.
And she's like, okay, y'all, I'll talk to you later.
Mm.
And that was not the last time we talked to her. The next morning, she had texted us at 8:30 in the group chat and was like, I feel better, you guys. I slept pretty good last night. I took my medication. I'm good to go, blah, blah, blah.
Okay.
And that was at 8:30 in the morning, and I had been holed up in a conference room all day at the office, and I didn't have my phone on me because we were doing something for either end of quarter or beginning of quarter, I can't remember.
Mm.
But, I go back into my office, and I close the door, and I'm looking at my phone. I had missed so many phone calls from my sisters, and so I call my twin. Fun fact, I have a twin.
Okay. Yeah.
And I was like, "Dion, what's going on?" And she was like, "Have you heard from mom?" And I said, "No, I've actually haven't had a chance to reach out. I've been, in a meeting all day, and I heard from her this morning. You saw the text, right?" And she was
Right.
like, "Yeah, but I've been trying to call her this afternoon, like around like 11 o'clock, 12, just to see how she was doing, and she's not picking up." And so I call my older sister, Lincia, and I asked her to go do a wellness check because she lived so close to her. And she
Uh-huh.
was like, absolutely, I'm on it. We actually stayed on the phone while she went over to my mom's house because she lived that close.
Oh my
So
gosh.
she pulls up to my mom's house and she was like, her car is here. I can see, because she had glass in her garage. So you could see if her car was in there. So she peeked through
Okay.
the glass and she said, "Oh, her car's here." I'm like, "Okay." So just knock on the door, ring the doorbell or something. And she had a key also. So she used her key, but she didn't have a key for the storm door, and she was digging in her purse and she was freaking out because she couldn't find it. And finally she uncovers it, and I'm still on the phone, and she enters the house, and I will never forget the way that she sounded.
Oh,
She let out a scream,
it's guttural. I would
guttural,
imagine. Yeah.
guttural. And I said, "What?" And then we disconnected and I called the police. I called 911 in Austin. They dispatched me to my mom's town in Killeen. And I said, "I need someone to go to my mom's house. Here's her address. My sister's there, but I think something is wrong," because my sister just screamed and we disconnected. And he was like, "We're actually pulling up to your mom's house right now. Your sister had called us as well." My
Okay.
other sister did.
Okay.
And she lived in the town next to my mom's, and she had made it there in like 15 minutes. And she was pulling up to the house as the police were, and Lincia was inside. Lincia had administered CPR because my sister's an occupational therapist, so she has to know,
Wow.
CPR and stuff. She pulled her off the bed, covered her up, administered CPR, and the EMS people took over, and they said, "Ma'am, she's gone. She's been gone for some time." Yeah.
So sorry. Oh, and I'm
And
so
that
sorry for your sister. Oh
I
my
know,
god.
I don't know, I'll never know what that did to her. And
Yeah.
I asked her, I was like, "You know, you should really think about going to therapy. You should think
That
about
was my
talking."
first thought, one of my first thoughts. I was like, "Oh, I hope she's can talk through this with somebody."
I know, and she did seek help, she did,
Mhm.
but that help, um, I think it really just it didn't do anything for her. She'd already seen what she had seen.
Of
She had
course.
been through what she had been through, and it was just a tough row to hoe.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
I think she's better, but
Mhm.
I'll never know truly what that did to my sister, and that
Yeah.
kills me.
Oh my god, the
Yeah.
trauma around all of these things. And remind me one more time, so your what was the time between your aunt passing and your mom passing?
Approximately 14
That
months.
was 14 months. Okay, got it.
Yeah.
Oh my god, all in just barely over a year. This
Yeah.
I
It
mean,
was wild. You
not even
know,
like your life that you're living. It just probably
it
felt
felt
that's
like
how
it
I
was
felt with my
yeah.
parents. I'm like, this was not supposed to happen
Is
to me.
this real life?
Not them, not my life. Nope, this is like a
No.
movie.
That's what I thought, and
Mm.
it shook me to my core because you don't
No doubt.
understand, my mom and I talked copious amounts of times a day. Like,
Yeah.
I'm talking about, like, she'd be like, "Girl, what you want?" Because I would call her all the time, and she'd be like, "Oh my god, you're calling me again. Like, what do you want?" But that's just the kind of relationship that we had,
Yeah.
and I'm kind of codependent, so sorry, mom. I just what do you want from me?
It's a
But
codependent girly. I don't know what you want from me. This is actually your fault,
yeah.
sorry. Anything that my mom ever, like, not complained about, but, like, jokingly would, like, say to me, I'm just like, "Well, I'm a product of you, honey." Like, you
Exactly,
raised me, I don't know what
exactly.
you want.
That's how you raised
Oh,
me, but
so sweet.
all that to say,
Oh,
I just it's amazing to me that I'm still living,
yeah.
even though my mom is not. I always thought I'd be of the mind where if my mom goes, I'm going to.
I think
And I
so many
really
of us
thought
feel
about
that
that.
way. Yeah.
I really thought that way. But if I'm being honest, I had mourned her death like 2 or 3 years prior to her dying. I was
Mhm.
bracing myself for it. And I
Mhm.
don't know why that is. I just was, especially since, after her sister died, I kind of felt like she had given, up.
Yeah.
She had just I don't know, not that she didn't wanna be here, but she just
Yeah.
felt like, "What's my kids are raised. They're so happy. I'm happy. I
What's
think my work here is done.
what's
I
my
can
purpose
rest
here
easy."
kind of. Yeah.
Yeah.
I feel that about my dad too. Like, after, he had cancer, but, like, he had been dealing with that for 5 or 6 years, and
Oh,
when my
no.
mom died, he had prostate cancer, my mom died of esophageal much quicker.
Oh my god, I'm so
Yeah,
sorry.
like thank you. Yeah, like 9 months from diagnosis to death was my mom,
Stop.
and then my dad died 6 months after her, and so it's like, I could tell. There's something frankly, like, died in his soul a little bit when my mom
Yeah,
you could just tell. They're themselves, but they're not really themselves. I definitely
right.
think
That's
he
what
was
I felt about my mom.
yeah, yeah. There was in my dad's case, I don't wanna speak for your mom. There was some depression there. I think
Yes,
even, a nurse had said that to me, in addition to being dehydrated and certain things, like,
and all these things,
it
yeah.
just kind of not he wasn't l it's like he wasn't taking care of himself by the end, but the cancer had also spread, so there's anyway, a lot of nuances to this whole thing, but, yeah, she was just like, "Yeah, he's very depressed," and so, I didn't this hadn't happened to me yet, so how do you
I
know what to
understand.
look out for? Like, it's so
Yeah,
you don't know what you don't know. I say it all the time, and it's why
yeah,
anyone here listening, I always wanna encourage all of us, like, we gotta give ourselves grace. Especially if we haven't lost someone before, you've never been in that situation. Even if you have lost someone before, right? Like, you lost your beautiful aunt, and then with your mom's situation, but they're two completely different people, two completely different
totally.
situations. We do not
Yeah,
mourn and grieve the same way for each, but it's just,
yeah,
you know what I mean? Like, yeah, okay, maybe you kind of know what to expect on a very surface level, but it's just so different. So, but anyway, I bring that up because I can empathize with that feeling. You just know in
yeah.
your gut, you know these people so well. We are cellularly tied to them, and we
We're
know
connected.
when
Yeah,
something's
and we
not right.
know.
Yeah, and when
Yeah,
just
and
is wrong.
I
So,
knew because a
ugh,
week she died February 21st of 2024, and
mhm,
her birthday was July 25th of 2024, and she had made 70 that day.
mm,
And we had brunch. It was me, my brother, and my sister. My twin couldn't make it, but my husband was there, and she just looked heavy.
Yeah.
Not in the sense that she was, like, fat,
Like,
just
physically
in the
heavy. No,
sense,
no, you just
yeah,
your
just in the
aura,
sense that
just
her
something
aura
their
felt,
essence was just heavy. Yeah, my dad too.
it felt
Mhm.
heavy to me, and I'm
Yeah,
like, "Mom, are you okay?" And this is before she had gone to the doctor, a couple of weeks later because she wasn't feeling well still,
yeah.
and I was just like, "Mom, you look really tired, like, what's wrong?" And she just said, I'm okay, I'm glad to be here with you kids and, just hanging out." And I'm like, "All right,
You
mom."
just know there's something missing there. Ugh.
Something was off. Something was amiss.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
I'll always think that maybe I should have done something. I don't know what I could have done
Mhm.
in that moment, but I feel like I could have said something, done something, or at least passed on the message to my sisters and brother.
Yeah,
But I
yeah.
did, and yeah, that still bothers me to this day.
Yeah, those things that we carry that it's like, yeah, maybe we've forgiven ourselves. We know that we kind of just we did what we did or didn't do in the moment and stuff. But like again, we just I think are going so in the moment and we
Yeah,
are trying to do the right thing or we don't even know what the right quote right thing is. And you just
we don't know.
or even if you like have these thoughts, you just kind of don't think like things could get so bad or we maybe consciously or subconsciously don't want to believe it's that bad or like, "Okay, well, she's
Yeah,
telling me she's okay. Let me monitor the situation. I'm not convinced that this is a 911 yet, but, like,
yeah,
let me sit on this, let me observe," I don't know. That's how I've felt in certain situations
yeah,
like that, which is a reason I maybe haven't spoken up or didn't, did or didn't do certain things or say certain things, but, um, oh my god,
no,
it's a burden to carry. I know, it's like we have to find a way to release it. We have to, find ways to, quite frankly, live with that. But,
yeah, and
hopefully
I'm doing my best.
yeah, yeah,
I
it's
can
not our
only do so
fault
much.
at the end of the day, but, of course, most of us wanna be good people. We wanna be helpful. We
Yeah,
wanna look out for our loved ones. We don't wanna feel like we're turning our back to them somehow or just like, you know what I mean? But I
yeah,
think we just don't wanna think the worst. So, like, we
and
just,
I didn't. I
yeah,
didn't want to think that she wouldn't be here.
right.
I know, oh my god, sometimes my heart stops and I have to catch my breath because I realize that my mom is no longer on this earth.
Yeah. Yeah.
She's no longer here. And that's why I named the book Redbird. It's
Mhm.
because my family has a relationship with cardinals.
Yeah.
And when my granddad died, my niece had seen, when we had finished the funeral and gone back to his house for the repast, my niece, who was 22, 23 at the time, she um, was like, "Hey guys, there's two cardinals like on the lawn." And we were like, "Oh, cool." And we'd all had long since identified that that was basically an angel.
Yes. I
The
love the
saying
symbolism
goes,
behind
yeah,
cardinals.
the
That's
saying
beautiful.
goes, when the red bird appears, angels are near.
Yeah. I love that
So I
expression.
already knew that I would use that symbol in some type of way in my life. I don't know
Mhm.
what I was going to use it for, but I earmarked it.
Yep.
And I was like, ah, okay, cool.
Yeah.
And my mom, she had said at the time, she was like, "Oh, that's nothing but Papa telling us that he made it to the other side and he's okay."
Yeah.
And I'm like, "I hope you're right."
Mhm.
And I thought about that when my aunt passed, because when I was on my way in the dawn of the morning to go see my mom at like 5:30 in the morning, I'm driving down the road trying to get to her,
Mhm.
and a flash of red goes across my windshield on this back road, and it was a cardinal. And I was just like, "Oh, no
Oh,
way."
stop. Oh my god.
Yes, and it was
She's
my
already all up
aunt.
in your business. She's just
It
like,
was,
"Hi,
yes,
I will not."
that
As
was my
moms
aunt
do.
Shawn saying that she had
Oh.
made it to the other side, and I get to my
Oh,
mom's house, and she's inconsolable, she's crying, just,
God.
just carrying on, and we couldn't stop her from just, screaming and just
Mhm.
being upset, and I told her, I was like, "Mom, I saw a cardinal on the way here." And she was like, "Oh, you did?" And I said, "Yeah, I did. I think it was Shawn." And she stopped crying for that moment, and then she was like, "I think you're right."
Yeah. Yeah.
And it was just, I'll never forget that moment. But I didn't see a cardinal for my mom until, like, about a month after she died,
Mhm.
and I didn't see one for a very long time. She's been gone for about, oh my goodness, actually 14 months, I believe. She's been gone.
14 months is
Yeah,
relevant for you.
relevant,
Interesting, yeah,
and, you know, I got mad at her, I got angry, and I was talking to her out loud, and I
yeah.
said, "Mom, where are you?
Where are
You
my
haven't come
signs?
to see me.
Where are
Where are
you
my
t
signs?
Yeah,
Where's
I've
the
felt the
signal?"
same way with my parents too. I'm like, "You're not making yourselves known enough.
It made
Figure
me
it out."
mad. "Figure it out, lady."
Yeah.
And so I left the next morning to do my morning routine, walk out the door, and I'm walking with the dogs, and there it is, the biggest, brightest redbird I'd ever seen in my life, after I had really, like, yelled at my mom the night before.
She's like,
And
"Fine, I got the
she was
message."
like, "Fine, I got the message." And the message was this beautiful, brilliant redbird the
Oh
next
my
day.
gosh.
And I was like, "Thank you." And it hung out for a little bit too. I
Aw.
got to look at it and just listen to it and, like, chirp and stuff, and then it flew away.
Mm.
And then that was it. And I was just, it made me feel so much better. I had a great week
Oh,
because of seeing that cardinal.
yeah.
And
You're like,
it
"See,
just,
now was that so hard?"
it was, I know that's exactly what I was thinking. I'm like, "You could have done this like a month ago, lady.
Right.
What
Why
gives?"
are you waiting?
But I think that
Oh my
she
gosh.
wanted me to, in some way, reach out to her, whether it be
Mm.
talking out loud to her, whether it be journaling it or just thinking it.
Yeah,
But I think speaking it into existence really opened up, you know,
yeah.
the pathway for us to communicate.
Kind of line of
And the next
communication, yeah.
day, there it was.
Oh my
I
god.
know.
That's so heartwarming to me. I love the signs and symbols that are I have a couple from my parents too. Hummingbirds is a big one for me, and coins.
Ooh,
My mom was
coins.
constantly finding coins and picking up pennies and whatever, and I think she even said to me once, like, almost jokingly, but, "When I die, like, like, how you'll know it's me is, like, you'll find pennies, you're gonna find all these coins on the ground, whatever," and I've found I don't know how many.
Oh,
It's incredible. Yeah, so they have their ways, and then there's, like, these 2 hummingbirds that hang out outside my house a lot, it's just yeah, they have their ways of making themselves known, but
and doesn't that make you feel good?
oh my god,
It
amazing. Yeah,
does.
no,
It
it's
does.
just a little reassurance, a little something. It's never gonna be the same, with, them being here. It's never gonna make up for
Yeah,
that.
yeah.
Yeah, it's a very, very small condolence, um, but it just makes us feel a little bit less alone, a
I think
little
so.
just the tether, the connection is not totally gone, is not, has
No.
not completely, you know, disappeared with them, even though there's, like, that, the physical presence that we know and are so used to and all of that.
Yep,
I mean, it's hard to grapple with. We live in such a, 3D tangible world, like our senses are so attached to our loved ones and
they
all the
are.
ways. And so
Yeah.
it just makes them feel just a little bit tangible again. Like
Yeah, it
just for a
does, doesn't
second.
it? Just for
Yeah.
a second, even if it's just for a flash of a second, I'll take it.
Yeah.
I will take the connection any way I get it.
Absolutely. So I really want to talk about just a little bit more about your book. So you kind of walked us through a little bit about, what led you to writing, but like anyone
Yeah.
listening here, what can they expect in your book? Because I love that I think when I was reading about it and everything, it's sort of described as, like a heartfelt exploration of loss and resilience. So
Yes.
what can people expect when they read it?
Oh my goodness. So the book isn't just about the fact that I had these tremendous losses,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
It also talks about my life, like as it was or as it is now.
Mm-hmm.
And I talk about when I was in my 20s and I tried to commit suicide. I talk about body image issues and the things that I've done to fit into this perfect, what I thought, mold of who I was supposed to be. And I just talk about learning to love yourself and learning to understand that life is truly what you make it.
Yeah.
And I could have taken these losses. I could have taken all these bad things that have happened to me.
Yeah.
And I could have just rolled up into a ball and just never to emerge again.
Yep.
But I didn't. I chose life.
That's a
And
choice every single day.
it's a choice every single freaking day.
Yep.
Got to do the work.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's not just living. It's actually being an active participant in your life and
Intentional.
understanding that everything that happens to you isn't a result of you being a bad person or what have you. It's just because that's just life.
Yeah.
Life is lifing, and it's doing
Yeah.
what it's supposed to do, where you're supposed to learn and you're supposed to grow from.
Yes.
So
Yes.
that
Beautifully
that's
put.
what I hope they take away.
Yeah. That's incredible. I can just imagine it is such a powerful and just soulful
Yeah.
guide that comes from such raw, vulnerable experiences as you have been
Yeah.
through, and just some of the other things you just mentioned just absolutely breaks my heart, and there's probably so much to unpack there too. Um, but I am curious as we slowly start to wrap up, like, and maybe you go into some of this in your book, so I don't wanna, no spoilers, but what is just maybe something I mean, you've been through such loss, and so people might be wondering, like, "Deandra, how have you gotten through that? How did you cope?" Right? Like,
Mhm.
that's a question I get, I'm not gonna say a lot, but, like, frequently, and people
Yeah.
are kind of wondering, like, "Okay, you've been through what you have, it was a lot of loss in a short time, like, how'd you do it? What like, kinda
Yeah.
like, what's your secret a little bit?" So, is there anything in particular it could just be 1 or 2 things, however you wanna answer this question, that just helped you? Just how did you navigate all of that?
Therapy.
Mm,
One word.
mhm.
Therapy.
Good
I've
for
been in
you.
therapy since I was in my 20s, and
Oh, that's great.
I never deviated from not having a therapist. Like, I
Yeah.
feel like I need a subjective opinion, an
Yeah.
objective opinion, all the opinions, just
Yes.
because you can only do so much with your friendships and before you become a burden, and I don't wanna be like, "Well, I have a problem again." Like, that wasn't
Yeah.
I feel like therapy is something that each of us just living in this world probably needs at some point of in our lives, only because there's just a lot of things going on, the
Yeah.
political climate,
Mm.
life in and of itself, and
Yeah.
just like you said, dealing with grief.
Mhm.
And I really, really I hope that anyone who's gonna tackle any significant change in their life considers going to therapy,
Yeah.
really considers it. Whether it be online or text message, do some form of
Mhm.
therapy
Mhm.
at some point.
Yes. Yeah, absolutely. It's so helpful. I've done therapy myself for a little bit, admittedly not as long, but it was like kind of right around and mind you, this is all during in 2020 as well. My dad died, so it was,
Oh,
height of COVID and everything. And my
goodness
mom had died
gracious.
like just before it started, and then dad died like in July. So it was like getting to the height of it or at the height of it. And then I went through a breakup amidst all of that. And I've talked about
Oh
that on
my
the
good,
podcast
you have
before. So
been through it.
well, and spoiler alert, that was with my now husband, so we did get back together, yay.
Oh,
But
I love
at the
love.
time, that was not on the table, that was not that was not gonna be our journey. We were, like, broken up. There was no
You
at
guys were
that point,
split still.
sign of getting back together, yeah. So we did come back together, obviously, but, at the time, I think I started it was after my mom died, it was my dad was declining, I could see the writing on the wall. I was like, "Wow, I'm actually about to lose another parent, okay. This is not what I signed up for." And
Yeah.
then I was going through that living loss of the breakup, right? Of someone that I say it ironically now, but, saw myself marrying, and I thought we were gonna be together forever, right? And so but I was navigating, like, still being in the same orbit as him, we didn't live far away, like, it
Yeah.
was just everything was crashing down. But
Yeah.
I don't think you things don't even have to be, quote, "crashing down," and it's like loss after loss to benefit from therapy. There can be
Yeah.
so many things, quote, "big and little," that
Yes.
it's so good to talk through with a third party and just
Yes.
get a different perspective, and finding you probably know this better than anybody, finding the right therapist is also very important.
Oh, that
So,
was hard. It's
I
like
think that's tough for
trying on
people,
multiple
like
shoes.
yeah,
Yeah,
yeah, and you really I feel that way as a coach, like, I want it to be, synced up both ways, right? Like, if for whatever reason it's not a good
absolutely.
energetic match, that's okay. Same thing with finding a therapist that really feels like they see and understand you. And
Yeah.
definitely I would say for anybody, because I have many people in my life, thankfully, go to therapy or depending on the frequency, but like if they're dealing with grief specifically, they have fully said to me, like, my therapist is very clear, was not trained in grief specifically. And a lot of therapists
Oh,
will admit too, they're like, yeah, if it's not like your kind of specialty, we maybe go it probably depends on the program. This is very, I don't wanna generalize at all, but, I think for many of them, what I'm gathering is, like, it's maybe
yes.
only, like, a month or 2, or it's, like, a very small part of the overall, like, education they get. So, I think it's also very important to go to a therapist if it makes sense that specializes in a certain thing. If
I
there's one
agree
thing
with
in
that.
particular, you know what I mean, or like a particular focus. Because for me, like losing both parents, I'm just like, there's
And so in
depending on
such
the
thoughtful
therapist, you might not be
proximity.
able to understand what like really understand me, and I got to make sure I'm getting
Yeah,
the right help here. And thankfully, I had a great therapist, and it was all fine. But um, yeah, I couldn't agree more. Just
yeah.
having a hopefully, unbiased, impartial third party that can
Mhm.
just ask you the right questions, reflect things back to you, be a bit of a mirror, and who just doesn't have as much skin in the game, frankly, that friends or family
Yeah.
do. And they might also be dealing with their own traumas, or if it's the same person that you've all lost, like, there's
It's kinda hard because 'cause I've got,
read
3
into each
siblings.
other. Yeah, yes,
Yeah,
and I don't have siblings, so I can only begin to imagine the dynamics of all of that and
yeah, everybody's
yeah,
dealing with it in their own way,
absolutely. Yeah,
Like, my
yeah.
twin cries every day still
Mm,
because she's missing my mom.
yeah.
I don't emote that way, I'm not
Mhm.
a big crier,
Yeah, me
but
too.
I just, I can appreciate the way that she grieves. I
Yes.
really can,
Yeah.
and at the funeral, like, my sister's brother all crying, just, like,
Mhm.
buckets.
Mhm.
And I had to deliver the eulogy, so I was like, "No, no, 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 we gotta hold
Yeah.
it together.
Not today. I gotta
Not
or not
today,
in this moment at
baby."
least.
Yeah,
Yeah.
not in this moment, and
Yeah.
so I volunteered for that role only because I
That's
just didn't
incredible
think it
of you.
was better.
Yeah. I'm gonna say something that's very cliche, I know, but, like, you truly, you're so strong for doing that and stepping up, and I know, like, a lot of people will be like, "Well, I'm strong because I've had to be." Yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
You're str
yeah,
because in that
thank
moment,
you.
like, thank God they had you. You know what I mean? So,
I
like, I don't
know,
wanna say, like,
because
who
they
else would
didn't
have
wanna
done it,
do
but,
it.
like, you know what I mean? Like, that's your gift, like,
Yeah,
and to them, to the world, to all you know what I mean? But it takes enormous strength to be able to do that and have the bravery to do that and be able to frankly, kinda compartmentalize. You're just like, "Okay, nope, this is game face right
that's
now.
the word
I can put sad
that's
face
the
on later."
word. That's the word I always use, compartmentalize. I
Yeah.
did a podcast not too long ago, and she was like, "How were you able to do that?" I was like, "I
Yeah,
put it in a box,
there you go.
and then I was ready to pick it up later,
Uh-huh.
and I scheduled my freak out for about 10
Yes.
days out." Like,
Oh,
I
yeah.
have to do that, like, I'm type A personality,
Yeah.
and that to me was the best I could do for myself.
Mhm. Yeah, but
It was
kudos to you
absolutely
for
the best.
knowing that. Like, this is I mean, this is it's such a powerful lesson in being so painfully in touch with ourselves and knowing
Yeah,
ourselves really well, and those things can change after we go through a really devastating loss, or even if it's not the loss of a person, or it could be a loss of a job or whatever. We learn these things about ourselves, or if we know going into it, like, yeah, I'm a pretty type A person, so like I know this is how I need to process, I need to handle this is going to be my process, right? And just
yeah,
sitting in that and allowing that to happen, and not apologizing for it, and just
yeah,
being
that
like,
was
"Nope,
me.
okay, this is my journey. Here we go." So,
Yeah,
and it's a great lesson too in not comparing, because, there could be a lot of people
I
that
know.
might be very judgmental about perhaps you not crying much, or very judgmental of the people that are crying and can't get it together. But you
Yeah.
know what I mean? It's like, "Oh my god, none of
So
us can
you
win."
get it
Like,
both ways. You're gonna
yeah,
get
like
judged no matter what.
right, right. Oh my god. So we just need to just more compassion, right? And this
Yes,
whole
compassion.
whole journey. Well, my last question for you, I love to finish with this one sometimes. So, if there is someone here listening that has been through whatever loss they've been through, and they are just struggling right now. Maybe it is to the point where they're just like, I'm struggling to get out of bed, or it's the day to day things, or it's, just okay, what's next, right? Like, however you want to answer this, what piece of advice, word of wisdom would you say to that person listening right now?
Breathe. Take
Mm,
it day by day. That's
yeah.
all you can do.
Yeah.
I wake up every day and I'm reminded immediately as soon as I wake up, my mom's the first thing I think of
Mm,
and the last thing I think of at night. And so I have got to the person on the other end of this podcast needs to realize that their life is worth gold.
mhm,
It's worth so much. And just because you've lost either a large piece of yourself or a quarter of yourself and the person that you lost, it doesn't mean that your being here on this earth doesn't matter. It doesn't take away from the fact that you're here and that you can make a difference and that you still have a legacy of your own to fulfill. So that I really hope that the listeners out there understand and appreciate what it means to just be human and breathe and just
yeah.
let it do what it's supposed to do.
Yeah. Deandra,
Yeah.
that is so beautifully said. I really couldn't have said it better myself. And I always, I love that you said breathe because it's so underrated. It
Isn't
seems
it?
yes, it seems so obvious, but I've been saying it more lately, I feel like. When
Yeah.
was the last time you, not you, just you listeners,
Yeah.
took a deep breath? Seriously, when?
Yeah.
Even I have to say it to myself all the time if I'm like working during the day or whatever. Seriously, when was the last time you actually like
Yeah. It's
audibly
some breath work.
build up your lungs and breathe. Yes, the breath work.
Yeah.
It's so underrated. It is such gold, and but everything else that you just expanded on top of that is just so empowering and so inspiring and so
Thank
true.
you.
And I just know I just want to say this for anyone here listening. I know how lost you might feel. I know how confusing and wrong all of this can feel. All the
Feel.
things, just all of it.
Yeah.
And it's a lot to navigate, but and with your book and everything you have imparted on us today, I think is just a great example that we are not alone.
No,
Unfortunately, there are so many people dealing with, but I'm going to say similar losses. I'll just say on paper, right? We've both lost a mom. We can unfortunately,
relate.
relish in that together, even though our journeys
Yeah.
may be very different or the circumstances are different. All the details are different, right?
Yeah.
But there are people out there every single day from so many different walks of life. We're all here trying to traverse
I
all of
know.
this, and just hang in there, but then also still want a really fulfilling, abundant
Mhm.
life for ourselves. And so
Yes.
again, I encourage everyone, kind of like going back to the beginning of our conversation, tapping into whatever coping strategies and things work, right? So whether it's therapy or through art or,
Mhm.
just whatever our heart is sort of calling us to do.
Yeah.
Again, you're just an amazing example of like going with it and just flowing with it
Yeah.
and going with where your heart is led. And clearly done that with this book, and I'm just so excited for you, and, oh, just, it just I'm just so excited for you.
Thank you,
And
and
just,
I really appreciate
it
you
probably just
holding the
poured out of
space
you.
for me.
Yeah,
Yeah, thank you for holding the space for me to be here and be in front of your audience. I really appreciate that more than you know.
of course. Well, we appreciate you, and where can everyone find you, find your book, get connected with you if they wanna reach out, all the good things?
Yeah, so the book is on Amazon. It's also on bookpeople.com and barnesandnoble.com. My website is booksbydeandra.com. And I'm also on social media. It's just my full name, Diandra Ford-Wing is my handle. Nothing special or quirky about that, but
It's
same way
beautifully
you can
unique to
find me
you.
on
Yeah.
LinkedIn.
Love it. Amazing.
Yeah,
Well, all of that will be linked in the show notes as well. But Deandra, thank you so much for your time and sharing your very, very painful stories today. And I'm sending you so much love,
and I
as
receive
always.
it.
And yeah,
I
thank
receive
you
it.
so
Thank
much.
you.
I really appreciate your time today.